Assalamu alaikum everyone. Since we're all cooped up at home, I am going to give you a tour of my studio. This is where I spend most of my days. Here it is. This right here is my jewelry shelf. This is where I store all of the finished jewelry that I ship to my customers. This is Max, kitty number 1. This is my jewelry desk here where I design the original pieces. This is my Pietà painting I finished last year. Prints of this are for sale on my website. And this is a painting I call Salvatore Monday. Prints are also for sale on my website. This is kitty cat number 2. It's Maria. I think I have a pretty good view out my window. This is my easel. I like to paint with natural light, so I sit here and paint from this angle. This is my kufiya quilt. I designed it. I had the idea for it, but I didn't actually sew it myself because I don't know how to quilt. I found a woman who is very good at quilting and she sewed it for me. I had the idea for the kufiya quilt from a project I did when I was a kid. I grew up in the 80s and the clothes back then had lots of shoulder pads in them. And I thought shoulder pads were really ugly. I took them out of all my clothes and I hand sewed them together into a quilt. And then when I lived in the Middle East, I saw all these gorgeous colors of kufiyas and they reminded me of my shoulder pad quilt. So I bought a bunch of different colored kufiyas and I had the woman sew it for me. I think it came out really nice. It's got fabric on the other side, and she told me that kufiyas actually are really bad for making quilts because the thread count is so low, and she had a really hard time doing it, but I think she did a great job. These are pages from a graphic novel I've been working on for years called Tear Gas in the Morning. I'm no longer drawing on this comic book paper anymore. I'm hand drawing it directly onto the computer. But these are some of the original drawings. And this is the unfinished painting corner. This painting I started in 2004. This right here is the Angel of Death, and he is squatting on what is supposed to be, or what will be, the gravestone of George W. Bush. And that's how I felt about the Iraq War. The reason I didn't finish it is because I just didn't know how to paint feathers back then, and no matter what I did, I was not happy with the way the wings were turning out. And the same for the rocks and dirt and sand. I should probably try finishing it because I think I can paint better now. This is a painting I started when I lived in Egypt. It's Abu Simbel. I really don't know why I didn't finish it because I think it's a pretty good painting so far. I should probably finish it. This piece of calligraphy has a really interesting story. This is actually a print of calligraphy that my teacher Ihab Thabit did, and he gave me the print. I had this up in my studio for years and years, and I was taking a metalsmithing class at the time, and I kept staring at that red dot, and I thought, you know, I could make jewelry where the dot is actually a gemstone, because that's what I was learning how to do, was to solder and to set stones. So that's where the idea for these necklaces came from, making the gemstone, or making the dot in the calligraphy into a gemstone. right from that piece of calligraphy. That's it for the studio tour. I hope you enjoyed it. This is basically where I spend most of my days. Bye.